today we're talking about smelly bags. A lot of us who love luxury handbags have had to deal with a few smells. Unfortunately, there are a lot of smells that can ride along with your pre-loved luxury bag. And some of these smells include cigarette smoke or even just tobacco, a strong tobacco smell from maybe a cigarette breaking or something being in the bag. Another common one is perfume smells and mold smells. I had a bag that had strong cigarette smells and perfume smells, really bad perfume, to the point that it just smelled like somebody had spilled perfume in that bag. It was very strong. It was overpowering. And I was able to get the smells out. One of my subbies, Yevgenia Merkina, I hope I'm saying that correctly, asked me to talk about how I did get the smells out of my bag. So what I did was I had looked up a lot of ideas and I tried several things, and I also put it out there to you to tell me some of the things that you had used to get smells out of your bag. Please do know I am a jewelry designer. I am not an expert on handbags. I have a nice collection of luxury handbags, and I have done some things with my own handbags that I'm willing to share with you. But always use your own discretion. This is your bag and you want to think about what you do to it. If you are going to try putting something on the bag, always test in a discreet spot, which is usually on the inside of the bag. Before I wiped my bag down with anything, I would test it on the inside first. I also want to thank Leslie Craven. She had commented and given me some ideas, and one I didn't know about until then, and that was just sunlight. So we'll talk about that too, sunlight with mold. One thing to understand when you have a bag with smell is that you're not going to be able to get rid of the smell instantly. It's not going to be an immediate thing. If you have a bag that you have the opportunity to return and they didn't disclose smells and it arrived with smells, you may just want to return that bag because you may not get rid of the smell in the window that you have. So that's one word of caution. I did get the smell out of my bag, but it did take me a good long while. The first thing I would do when you get the bag with the smells in it is to try to just clean the bag. Literally take it outside, turn it upside down, open it up and shake it. Just shake it really well, kind of knock around on the inside of the bag so that anything in there will fall out. There may be cigarette ashes or who knows what in there that is helping that bag to hold on a smell. Then I would take a vacuum cleaner that has a soft brush attachment and just vacuum out the inside of the bag as well as you can. The next thing I would do is try to wipe down the inside and the outside of the bag. Here you want to proceed with caution. There are several things that you can use to do this, but always test. If the inside of your bag is leather, then you can test it on the inside of the bag because it's probably the same leather that's on the outside, may or may not be. I would do a little spot test in a discreet place on the inside of the bag. If you have nothing on the inside of the bag that is similar to the outside, pick something that's discreet. Maybe the underside of a handle, maybe the bottom of the bag, maybe part of the flap has a little bit of leather, but I would test. Some of the things that you can wipe the bag down with. One is if you put half water and half white vinegar into a spray bottle and spray a white cloth lightly with that and just gently wipe that down, the inside and the outside. That would be one way to go. That's probably where I would start because it would be very mild. And then just open the bag up and literally just let it air out for a few days and see if that works. What Leslie had said, and I did look this up online and a lot of people do agree with this, if what you have is a mold smell, you may want to put that bag out into the sun because the sun will kill mold. My concern here is that the sun also has the ability to fade your bag. So take that into account. Also, if you have a shed of leather, obviously that's going to darken that leather. So think about that and decide what the trade-off is for you. But just air that bag out for a little while and see what that does. If after a few days you still have a smell with your bag, we can move on. Now hopefully the smell has diminished at least somewhat with what you've done so far. But there are a lot of things that absorb odor. They absorb odor naturally, and some of those things are baking soda, coffee beans, and charcoal. Also dryer sheets. That's another thing that is supposed to absorb the odor. I didn't find that that one worked that well for me, I didn't think. So let's focus on the baking soda, the coffee, and the charcoal. What you want to do here is make a sachet. You can kind of play around with that. If you have little linen bags, what you want is to contain the item, but let the air kind of go through it. So if you have linen bags, those can be very good. Or if you have some fabric that you can tie up, you can also use a sock. You can put these things into a sock, or pantyhose. Even strong pantyhose will work. I've also heard of people putting them in a plastic bag and then puncturing the plastic bag. I'm not so sure about that. That seems like it'll spill more. Some of these might spill some of it a little bit into your bag, but you can always vacuum it out again. If the smell is mostly on the inside of the bag, you can put those inside the bag and close it up, and then maybe put it in a drawer or somewhere, but you just want to kind of tighten it up with the bag. If the smell is also on the outside of the bag, then you do want to close up the whole bag. You could put the sachets on the inside of the bag, put the bag in a drawer, put another sachet on the outside of the bag and close the drawer. Or you could just find a bigger bag, a garbage bag or something, and tie this all up together, or maybe a plastic bin, something like that, so that you have these odor absorbing things with the purse on the inside and the outside, and see if that will start to get rid of some of the odor in your bag. Other things I've heard of that people use, one is dryer sheets. That didn't work all that well for me, and also newspaper. People sometimes say if you put it in with newspaper that that will absorb some of the odor. Another thing I've heard about people using is essential oils. I haven't tried that myself. Young's Oil makes something called purification oil that when I was looking online, some people said that they liked. And you would just put a couple drops of that on a tissue and put it inside of the bag, and then maybe in the drawer with it. I don't have firsthand experience with it, but you might want to look up reviews of that and see what you think about that. For the charcoal, I want to mention you could use the charcoal briquettes that you use to light your grill. You don't want the easy light kind. Those have been soaked in a chemical that you don't want to introduce to your bag. You want to make sure that you have pure charcoal, and you can either put the whole briquettes into the sock or whatever, or maybe crunch them up a little bit and put them in. You can also buy charcoal sachets online if you want to. Those are available. I had some luck with the baking soda and the charcoal, but sometimes it's just sort of a question of doing one thing, then airing it out again, then trying another, airing it out again. The key is it will take time, and you may not ever fully get rid of the odors. Hopefully you will. I will be rooting for you if you were working on this. If you have a tip that I did not mention, please do let us all know in the comments below. We would love to hear about it. Most of the people here are having trouble with the bag, and we could use all of the advice we could get. I am jewelry designer Jill Maurer, and I love taking the intimidation and the mystique out of buying and wearing fine jewelry. I also talk about design and love luxury handbags. If any of that sounds interesting to you, I hope you will subscribe so that we can see each other again. Until then.